A masterclass on how not to handle a bad story, a negative story, is what we've saw at Penn State. Some background on how we'll set up this media availability with James Franklin. So there are 2 former Nittany Lions players. They're charged with rape and other felony sex crimes against a 17-year-old Penn State student. And this allegedly occurred back in the summer on July 7th. Players suspended at the end of July, and then they're kicked off the team a couple days later. And then whenever court dockets filed Tuesday got out to the media that broke the news of these charges to these 2 players. And this is James Franklin, who is clearly, and Chad and I totally agree on this, he's clearly being told to not say anything.
Yeah, this is a legal counsel mandate, it
Totally.
sounds like.
Chad and I also covered the Vanderbilt rape case that involved 4 players and some recruits of James Franklin whenever he was here as the head coach of the Vanderbilt Commodores. And while I don't recall him commenting very much, he never stepped away from the microphone and had an SID or a spokesperson of the university just read a 2-sentence statement and then come back and ask for football questions. This could have been handled a lot better from the face of the football program and the face of the university.
Guys, how we doing?
Good. This is obviously a serious and sensitive subject. I know Greg read that, but we haven't heard anything from you on this.
John, we released a university statement. All right, do I need to read the statement again?
If you would like.
All right. Regarding the 2 former Penn State football players, we released a statement yesterday, and our program and athletic department will have no further comment. If you need the statement, please reach out to me or Chris.
Hey guys, any questions?
James, at what point in the summer were you aware that these guys were not going to be on the team?
Again, guys, the university already released a statement. If you need the statement, reach out to me or Chris. We'll have no further comment.
Are there questions about Wisconsin?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
There are questions about Wisconsin. Please keep your questions to Wisconsin.
Hey guys.
There's James Franklin there. Hey, guys.
I love the woman who has the role of, are there any questions about Wisconsin? Any questions about Wisconsin?
And prior to that,
any more questions
playing,
for Pop?
They were told, the media was told, no questions. And, of course, there are going to be questions about this as this news breaks at Penn State. And, Chad, Franklin's drawing criticism. You know, it's the face of the program, face of the university, you know, the spokesman for what Penn State Nittany Lion football represents, and to just step away from Mike. It's not a story if he just answers the question the way that you have someone step in and just read a 2-sentence thing, you know, no further comment. You know, hey, you know, we're not going to comment at this time. Legal process is playing out. We're going about our game week in preparation. I thought just to pop back into the mic and act like he was just restarting the whole press session again, like hitting repeat. Hey, guys. Be better than that.
It almost infantilizes him and emasculates him in front of the public in a way to do it that way. And what I mean by that is it's like, you know, child sit down was sort of the whole thing. Like that's how you would handle a kid.
Yeah.
You know, in that setting, like, no, we can't put our child in this situation, so they must run away from anything like this. You know, stranger danger. That microphone is the stranger, and that is the danger. Don't speak. And the way he had to almost sprint out of the camera sight and away from the mic once the question started going in that direction, they put him in a bad spot. Now, I don't know if James Franklin fought this with his president and legal counsel and everyone else, if he wanted to speak on it or what. But, Hutton, you're right. It's very simple just to give him the short statement that Penn State put together and say, here's the statement, read it over 4 or 5 times. Don't deviate from the statement. You can say whatever you want, words like, you know, disappointed in the situation, Legal system's going to handle it.
I'm unable to comment at this time.
I'm unable to comment, obviously, because of it's an ongoing legal matter, but, we're going to do our due diligence. Whatever the go to Kamala Harris's PR team about sticking to talking points and never deviating from them and only talking about certain things. That's all you got to do. It's really simple. You don't have to say a lot of words. Just get up there and say the easiest things imaginable and stick to that. If you don't trust your head coach to do that, that's not a big-time endorsement from your bosses.
Well, first off,
that's what would bother me if I'm James Franklin, is I would think, do you think I'm a moron? Like, just tell me what you want me to say, and I'll keep it between the lines on that, and then we'll be done with it.
Well, and I think it becomes more of a viral moment because, number one, you're telling the press, don't ask, you're not allowed to ask this question. Don't ask any. And, of course, there are going to be questions about it. And props, very first question, second question. Number two, stepping away from the mic and handling it that way, and then coming back up to the mic, hey, guys, acting like whatever was just read didn't happen, and they're resetting, they're just taking football questions. And then you have the inability to just handle it as the coach, as the head of the program saying, I can't comment on that right now. I can only answer football questions today. More conversational than direct, than business-like or lawyer-like. And I understand he's doing exactly whatever the university is wanting him to do and handle it that way. But the university can be a lot better in this and allow him to just simply tell everyone, I can't comment on that right now.
And he's one of the most, if not the most powerful person at the university. Any head football coach at a school like Penn State is going to have a lot of power.
Right.
Then just stand up for yourself and say, I can handle it. And also, Hutton, you brought it up. We covered it here in Nashville. It's not like James Franklin hadn't gone through this before.
That's right.
And by the way, I'm not going to get into details about the case, but go read the case details and the accusation. It is eerily similar to exactly what happened at a dorm on West End at Vanderbilt with multiple players and a cell phone video being involved of what took place.
So what happened?
It's a horrific story, but James Franklin has been embroiled in this before. So you would think that experience and the fact that you're paying him large sums of money to be a leader of a gigantic program with a lot of implications financially for the entire state, and you're paying him to be a communicator that he can handle reading a press release and going up to the podium and starting by saying something like, hey, guys, we're going to get to the game. I'll open with the news of the day. Here's what happened. I can't comment on it. I understand your job is to ask questions about it or seek what's going on, but I can't speak on it because it's an ongoing legal matter. I hope you understand. Instead of having your PR crony, your media relations guy, stand up there and chastise the media. There's nothing that ticks me off more than just the arrogant attitude of a PR person. I know that's their job in that moment, but to stand up and basically like, guys, we told you before, no questions. We're going to stick to the press release. I'm thinking, dude, shut up. Sit down.
Well, that makes
if you're someone in there asking James Franklin questions, I'm thinking, sit down and shut up.
That makes it more frustrating to where more questions need to be answered. Because, again, Chad, it's right to go back in time here. 2013 is when the Vanderbilt on campus, 4 players involved in this. 2017, I believe, is when the sentences were handed down. Brandon Vandenberg, former tight end of the Vanderbilt Commodores, under James Franklin, sentenced to 17 years in prison. Brandon Banks, 15 years. Corey Beatty, 15 years. Tip McKenzie was a part of this, another player. I can't remember what his sentence was. But the allegations, and then found guilty, and some pleaded guilty, carried an unconscious woman, 21 years old, I believe, at the time, to a dorm room, raped and assaulted this young woman on camera. At one point, they urinated on her and said this is for 400 years of slavery. And it ends up a handful of years later in sentences handed down at the, going to the state prison. And the way that was handled then was poor. Fast forward now to Penn State, and Franklin won't even say a word about it, about the allegations and it's not, it doesn't always fall under the coach's fault or purview, but this presser did, and for the optics of how not to do something, this is a masterclass, and just simply not handling it the proper way to where it doesn't become an issue or a storyline the next day where you and I are talking about it, Jeff.
Yeah,
And
the first
it's unfortunate.
one,
it's totally unfortunate. It's awful that the story with both, but Franklin is involved in both, and he barely said anything back in 2017 or 2013, excuse me, and now he won't say a word. He'll drink his water.
And you went through the details of the first case, which that's all public record now. Went through the criminal court process, and there's been convictions on that one. So it's horrific. We don't fully know on this one. It's not completely gone through the system. But everything that you detailed there, Hut, if you go and read it, I mean, this is very similar. 17-year-old girl involved, alcohol and drugs involved, waking up in a strange room, 2 different players involved in allegations, another person filming while stuff is happening and stuff allegedly being forced to do. It's a terrible, terrible story. And I'm not saying this is James Franklin's fault or anything like that, or there's some underlying issue in the culture of his team. I'll just say that it's really highly unfortunate of a coincidence that a story like this has happened twice under his leadership, once at Vanderbilt, once at Penn State. It's a terrible story, and this is not the way you handle it publicly if you're the head coach. And again, I'm giving him not a total pass, but a little bit of one, because that looked like someone who was told you can't speak on this.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
Now, could he have fought back better and won? I don't know. I'd have to go behind the scenes to find out.
Yeah, but again, it's just the mannerisms of it. That you could say, hey, guys, I can't speak on it, and you turn to your SID for the statement. Something like that. And there was a question that was asked, one of the two that apparently they're not allowed to ask questions, about when were you made aware, or when did you find out about what was going on? Keep in mind, there were questions back in 2013 about when the football program was aware of everything that had happened. There was, some foggy details about when certain players were on the team, off the team, anything like that. Cue this up again, because it's the way he steps away from the microphone, and then the question about when were you made aware or when did you know, that's important because of things that were, being discussed here in Nashville and beyond back in 2013.
Guys, how we doing?
This is obviously a serious and sensitive subject. I know Greg read that, but we haven't heard anything from you on this.
John, we released a university statement. All right, do I need to read the statement again?
If you would like.
All right. Regarding the 2 former Penn State football players, we released a statement yesterday, and our program and athletic department will have no further comment. If you need the statement, please reach out to me or Chris.
Hey guys, any questions?
James, at what point in the summer were you aware that these guys were not going to be on the team?
See, that
I don't like the way his face looked when he walked away.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
So again,
The university already released a statement.
That looked more. I'm reading into facial expressions here.
I know.
That looked more like James Franklin decided, I'm not going to be bothered by this.
I know.
This week, so you handle it. You and your team, you handle it.
Yeah. It's a bad look for the most powerful, if not one of the most powerful at Penn State, and again represents all things Penn State on a daily basis.
I'm just amazed. First off, James Franklin is a wildly charismatic, good talker type guy. I
like him. I like James Franklin, the person. Like, if we're hanging out with him.
I hung out with him at a wedding reception, and it was awesome. And he's great to talk to about football or anything. But a guy like that can handle this.
Yes, exactly.
That's what bothers me about it is you don't have to make them a child, or if it's him making that decision, you don't have to make yourself look like a child.
And he's also handling. He's in charge of holding players accountable. Like, be accountable for what you represent here. You just have to say the bare minimum, but say something. if you handle it that way, you're not going to get peppered with questions. And this guy step in with the vest on and have to read the statement.
You're also, if that's me in that situation and I'm the head coach at Penn State, you have your media relations team there to help you, kind of advise you with things and give you a heads up.
Yeah,
like, hey, this is the story. Here's the press release.
Right.
Just give me that information, and this is my press conference. Right? Like, there's something about, I'm not going to have someone else hijack my press conference. That's my podium. If you're the head coach at Penn State, right, isn't that your podium? Like, I don't need to step away from the podium because I can't handle a question. Just say something at the beginning, and then if someone else asks, you can just respectfully say, like, as I said, bad situation. We're gathering facts. I can't comment on it anymore, certainly not specifics, because it's an ongoing legal matter. I'm happy to answer any other questions. If someone else asks it, you could say the same thing. But you could do that over and over without getting overly pissed off at everybody about it.
Yep.
And then guess what? That's a pretty easy press conference at the end of it, if that's all you answer over and over.
Yep, should be. Chad, how about the role sports and podcasts are playing in the presidential election? So
podcasts have never been bigger.
Donald Trump is apparently going to be, and they're making preparations to be present for the Ohio State-Penn State game. This will be 3 days before the presidential election. This is next Saturday. And, of course, President Trump was present for Alabama and Georgia. Next biggest matchup is going to be right here with Penn State, Ohio State.
To the Steelers game recently. He got cheered.
That's right, yeah.
At a Pittsburgh Steelers game.
Of course, Pennsylvania, massive
huge ovation
swing state.
for him.
That's right. You've got, on top of that, Rogan, right? Rogan's involved in this with Trump. And then Kamala Harris is apparently going to be on Shannon Sharp's Club Shay Shay in a sit-down. Of course, that's going to be taped, but it's supposed to air on Monday. So, yeah, I mean, the sit-down podcast. And I don't know, have you seen the Shannon Sharp Shay Shay podcast with Cat Williams?
I've not seen that one. I've seen snippets of the podcast.
Yeah, going in, like,
in the setup.
They're talking a lot about Diddy.
He's normally drinking in it, I feel like.
Yeah, like some bourbon.
Yeah, they're like sipping bourbon when they're on the podcast.
Yeah, more relaxed setting. But again, like long form. Rogan's known for going forever. And you were saying earlier this week, I believe, about just the questions asked and the conversations and just being able to actually.
It's not like, this is somewhat interesting, but to me, it's more about the old concept of equal time in media.
Yep.
For both sides and both candidates and all candidates and all that. I just, from a sheer information and also somewhat entertainment standpoint, I want to see all these candidates go on adversarial media on the same ones. Like, I'd like to see Kamala Harris on with Joe Rogan and Donald Trump. I'd like to see Howard Stern not just interview Kamala Harris, but interview Donald Trump, who was a guest for years on his show. And they were once great friends, and now he hates him. I mean, Howard Stern treats Donald Trump and acts like he's Hitler, which is laughable.
Right.
But I want to see, let's get Donald Trump on Alex Cooper's Call Her Daddy podcast. Let's get equal time on all of them. That would be fun for me. I'd like to see Donald Trump on with Shannon Sharp on Club Shay Shay.
Yes.
But what you get is friendly media. I'll go there because this person's endorsing me or voting for me, and I'm going to be treated with kid gloves.
What's more off the cuff and relaxed than the podcast setting, I'm saying. You're not. Trump's always going to be in a suit, right? But I'm saying, like, you. Well,
he was on with our guy Tyrus, and he had the suit on.
Yeah, but it's one continuous conversation, right? Just kick back and chat. Like Trump's going to crush that in any setting, right?
You would think.
Kamala Harris, I know it's being taped. We know that her previous interviews have been chopped up.
Yeah, I mean, why is it being taped?
Well, the podcast would be taped.
Yeah,
they don't stream that live.
I just don't think.
Rogan's taped, too.
I think the only media outlet, this is me speculating here, but because the 60 Minutes thing, they will not release the full transcript.
I don't mind it being taped as long as it's not edited.
I think it's taped and edited. I think that Kamala Harris's team, in order to agree to an interview, is demanding we get final cut or final say of it. Again, me speculating. Because the only one that I think did not do that was Fox News.
Yeah, so they didn't demand
Brett Baer was big on, we had 28 minutes.
Right.
It was live to tape. So they were taping it for live, but it was a 28-minute segment.
That's the key.
And that's why he kept interrupting, because he was trying to get to a bunch of things in 28 minutes, which makes me think that Fox News may have been the only one who did not grant editorial power to the Harris campaign.
Well, which means that they also don't just staunchly demand it and won't do it unless they have that, if they gave in on this.
But I think everyone that's agreeing to an interview with Kamala Harris is willing to play ball to do that.
Well, I want to see it first. But again, it's being taped now to air on Monday.
I mean, it's just, yeah.
So a lot can be done on the weekend. I get what you're saying. But the live to tape, it is what it is. Hopefully that's what we get. But nonetheless, you can really craft a person's personality in a setting like this.
No doubt.
Especially with some of the hosts, and as charismatic and opinionated as they are.
Well, Joe Rogan's going to talk as much as the guest. So Joe Rogan may be talking as much as Donald Trump.
But the thing the thing that makes Rogan so great is you can sit down and he'll start talking about how large the sun is compared to planet Earth, and then how large some of the other stars are compared to the sun, and out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And then they pull up, and then you're involved in that conversation, but you have no expertise in that field.
Yeah, you're just having a conversation with someone about it.
That's the fascinating part of it. Shannon Sharp, for all the reasons that people may not like him because of how loud he is or boisterous or whatever, the Cat Williams interview was fascinating to me because they went down some rabbit holes I never thought people would talk on publicly, and it takes the guest to be able to do it. But they're discussing Cat Williams say that I've got a lot of dirt on a lot of people, and a lot of people knew about P. Diddy and all this stuff. They get into a lot of detail that, again, Shannon Sharp brought out in Cat Williams, because Cat admitted, he's like, I don't do these, but I want to be on your show because of how relaxed it is, and everyone comes over here and has a good time.
Well, and it also makes sense demographic-wise, because the big thing in the news right now is that Kamala Harris struggles with black men, that there's a lot of black men in America who are now siding with Donald Trump,
which
and
explains
not
Charlemagne
the
God.
Democratic Party. So Club Shay Shay would make sense for that demographic also.
Yeah. Chad.
That's why I think Donald Trump should go on Call Her Daddy.
Oh.
He struggles with women. Here's your chance.
Take it.
Here's your chance.
Chad.
I don't know if that'd help or hurt, but I'd love to hear that conversation.
The Minnesota Vikings had a chance until they didn't. Last night, they trailed 28-20. Vikings, by the way, have now lost 2 in a row. 28-20. With the ball, Justin Jefferson. Let me point this out. They have Justin Jefferson down by a possession. They need a 2-point conversion. And there's a safety in the end zone. Sam Darnold taken down in what is a clear face mask. Clear face mask. I don't know how they missed this. Do you have theories on how they missed this, the officials? Looking right at the play. Look at these two.
I have no clue. I mean,
how is this possible?
I'm watching this live when it happened, and Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit immediately say, well, something happened on the tackle. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
And immediately, it's not like Sam Darnold played it off. I mean, he's grabbing his face mask and showing what happened. I don't know, Hutton, how that's missed.
Me either.
And it's unacceptable. Because I just don't think they would have missed it on Patrick Mahomes. I refuse to believe that that would have happened. This was just, I know it's probably an honest mistake, but that type of honest mistake doesn't happen to the great quarterbacks.
Guys, let's go back to the two-shot with
moment.
the officials looking at this play. Because you have the white hat. Now, on the right, maybe you could say, oh, it looks like he's grabbing his shoulder or his arm. Maybe. But again, look at the helmet. How the neck is being turned. And then look at the other official staring right at this play on the left. How do you not see that?
Well, and that's
I'm with
not
you
even,
on this Mahomes theory, by the way.
And because it keeps going. Like, that's not even the one that he would see better, because he continues to rip him around.
Yes.
Where he would have been facing him at one point, or at least the side of his face mask would have been exposed to the white hat. I don't understand it.
Stafford throws 4 touchdowns. Cooper Kupp is back. Puka Nacua is back. They got Nacua involved quickly and early and often. Kupp ends up having a touchdown. So all the talk about
they won 2 games in 5 days. I don't think they're sellers anymore.
This is a clear indication that because last year didn't they win 7 out of 8 down the stretch to get into the playoffs?
And look at their division.
Their division's wide open. They again, they've got the veteran quarterback with 2 receivers. They've got a great run game. Kyron Williams. They're not going to sell. There's no way they can trade off Cooper Kupp after what's in front of them and the fact that they're finally getting healthy. Maybe they do. Maybe there's some grand plan in place. I couldn't do that. Meanwhile, the Vikings have lost 2 in a row.
Yeah.
One against their divisional rival in Detroit. Detroit's got the Titans on Sunday, a chance to continue their win streak. So it's a poor 4-day stretch for the Vikings. Tua Tagovailoa, he's back. Tyreek Hill says everyone's back within that offense. An offense that scored 70 points total this season. After last year, we saw them score that in one game. Tua is going to play Sunday, trying to help Miami save their season the way that maybe the Rams getting healthy can save theirs. And they're facing the Arizona Cardinals. Cardinals have not been good. You've got a quarterback there that's been very up and down in Kyler Murray. And Tua he's always pretty good, very consistent, I'd say, whenever he's healthy. Chad, I just hope we don't see another concussion-like issue like we've seen. I mean, again, it's his call. It's going to happen again. I'm not saying it happens this week, the rest of this year. We'll see this come to the surface again, and we'll see the same type of reaction again.
Yeah, I hope it doesn't happen, but odds are it probably will, based on the track record.
Their
but
division's
also,
wide open too.
Based on the track record, their offense is going to be a lot better while he's healthy.
Yeah.
So
I mean, the confidence level of the receivers goes way up.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how much better they are within that division with Tua now.
Yep. We've got the Dodgers-Yankees tonight. Long series expected. I was looking at the odds. You can, pick your team to win and in how many games. I went Yankees in 6. Do you think I'm crazy?
No, not at all.
If I went Dodgers in 4, I don't think I'm crazy. I think it's just that unpredictable right now.
The only thing that would surprise me is a sweep for either team. I think that's the one that would surprise me. I feel like this is a 6 or 7 game series.
Would you take Yankees plus 1.5 right now, tonight?
Garrett Cole pitching?
Yep.
No.
Really?
I think the Dodgers get it done.
Okay. And big.
But it gave me pause. It gave me pause.
And there's here's what I love about the matchup. There are players that I have no doubt will rise to the occasion. In the pressure moment, Ohtani's going to get the hit.
Yeah, we'll talk to Nick Turturro later about it.
Judge.
And Juan Soto.
Right.
Is another guy who came through for the Yankees. Mookie Betts has been huge this postseason for the Dodgers. I mean, both sides. But it's Ohtani and Judge that every single at-bat in this World Series is going to be picked apart with those two going head-to-head. And I understand that Ohtani's not pitching in this series, so they're not going to literally go head-to-head, but their teams are going head-to-head, and we're going to watch both of these greats in the prime of their career in a World Series, one for New York, one for L.A. Pretty cool.
If we get into a long game, extra inning game, we could see Ohtani throw.
I'd love to see it.
Like
just
the
add
scenario,
to the drama. Add to
you
the
need
drama.
the arm,
Yeah.
for a bullpen type.
We had
team.
Jim Leyritz on yesterday, and he talked about he could see him becoming a closer for the Dodgers.
Oh, yeah.
As his career goes on, that could be a good role. He's an everyday DH, and he could close for you instead of having to worry about being a starter every 5th day.
Well, look, Leyritz will be shown tonight.
Yep, which does make sense.
We'll see him. He's in row 2. He said.
Yeah.
He's not in the all-time greats row, the celebrity row. He's in the row 2, which means he's
in
right
the
there.
I have a rich buddy with season tickets that got me tickets.
The real estate guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Chad, if we continue on our winning ways with wrong team favored, maybe
you guys.
you've got some points coming too.
Yeah, I'm not in last. That's good.
Wrong team favored. Davey Hudson joins us here. I got the win last week. Illinois getting 4.5 with their win over Michigan. Chad took Nebraska over IU, and again, going into this plus 6.5. There's a similar type game coming up this weekend for Indiana that we'll ask Kelly about in just a moment. That was a boat race game. And then, Davey, Arizona and Colorado. getting some points.
Those
got-
looked
you got
good.
a
Yeah,
six.
I was glad to get back on the board. It's been a minute. I am glad we're all on the board. Hutt, again, he won this thing last year, and it looks like that's going to be the case again
Well,
this
maybe
year.
not. Maybe not. We'll see
I know there's still a lot
we
to
see
go.
what type of points you guys are going at.
I'll give you credit. man.
Vanderbilt
You've
is
done a
available.
good job. You've done a good job at figuring out
So is Missouri.
the season as far as like where these lines are and where these misplaced teams have been. That's been a common theme the last 2 years we've done this.
So
A lot of time left. Game still goes.
This
I'm
week-
I'm not conceding anything yet.
this week,
Like Nebraska conceded in the first quarter against Indiana. Damn them.
I'm trying to keep the win streak going here. Penn State's won the last 5 matchups over Wisconsin. Those 5 games, 4 of the 5 have been decided by 1 score. It's homecoming for the Badgers, 6.5 at home against Penn State. I just don't believe in Penn State in the grand scheme of national championship type caliber. Wisconsin, Luke Fickell, if not now, win. If not now, win. Matchup coming up next week with Penn State, Ohio State. Taking the Badgers outright winner at home on Saturday.
I do not hate it, Hutton. I like a home underdog. We all
Home
do,
dog.
I feel like, right? I'm going to go with a home underdog. You know what's lovely? Chestnut Hill in autumn. That's what's lovely. Let's go to Massachusetts tonight.
Sounds
you know
like
what
a
else is
song.
lovely? Boston College is undefeated on the season at home. Thomas Castellanos, great dual threat quarterback, 5'9" quarterback. When a 5'9" quarterback is dealing, I pick that quarterback to win. Give me Boston College at home, plus 7.5.
Little Doug Flutie action.
Against Louisville. I'm 2-0 this year, I think, if my math is correct, when I pick Friday night games.
Okay.
So I'm going back to the well of the Friday night game. That game being played tonight. Give me Boston College at home.
Guys, I like both your all's picks. The one matchup I am interested to watch in Wisconsin versus Penn State is Tyler Warren. His last outing to tight end for the Nittany Lions against USC. He put up a casual 17 receptions for 224 yards and 1 touchdown. I, on the other hand, I'm going to go with a game in the Big 12, and I'm taking Oklahoma State to beat Baylor. Now,
Okay.
both these teams are reeling. They're 3-4, but Oklahoma State has just been on the cusp, and they've just struggled. They should have knocked off BYU last Friday night, and for whatever reason, they just let BYU go right down the field and score. I think this team's going to actually come back. It's not so much I like Oklahoma State. It's more of I just am not a fan of Baylor. And at 7 points, it's like this is a chance to give me some points. I'm going to take it.
I mean, at some point, Oklahoma State has to win for one of us.